All right, everybody, Steve Austin here. We're locked and loaded, ready to rock and roll with Dutch Mantell. You might know him better as Zeb Coulter from the WWE. But before we get started, we got to take care of some business. So, hey, can you tell me why razors are so damn expensive? Maybe it's because all them billion-dollar shave companies load up their razors with a bunch of damn gimmicks you don't even need. I don't need no vibrating handle, no back scratcher. That's why I switched to DollarShaveClub.com. They have amazing quality razors for a couple of ducats a month, and they'll deliver them right to your door. Just sign up at DollarShaveClub.com. Pick a razor plan. They got 3 to choose from. And then every month, like clockwork, you'll get a package in the mail with Dollar Shave Club blades. So, thanks to Dollar Shave Club, you'll never forget to buy blades, and you'll never get nicked up from squeezing one too many shaves out of that last blade in your pack. So join me and the hundreds of thousands of guys who've upgraded to the smarter way to shave. Shave time, shave money. Join DollarShaveClub.com/Steve. That's DollarShaveClub.com/Steve. Y'all know I got 3 Labrador Retrievers at home, led by Hershey the Wonder Dog, and I can tell you that BarkBox is keeping them and me happy. BarkBox has everything from innovative toys and gadgets to leashes and treats, and so much more. BarkBox ships 100% natural elk, caribou, wild boar, and other lean wild meats, perfect for keeping your dog fit and healthy. And BarkBox is committed to the cause of homeless dogs. As a rule, they give 10% of their revenue to local rescues and shelters across the United States and Canada. So treat your dog well and take care of another in the process, and save 20% on your new subscription by visiting BarkBox.com/Steve.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
He started in a small town in Texas. Worked his ass off to become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time.
We're going to take care of business tonight, and that's the bottom line.
And now he's dominating the world of on-demand audio. And he's doing it for the working man.
This is a damn good outlet for me to spew the bullshit off my brain.
Yeah! This is the Steve Austin Show. Unleashed. Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show, coming to you from the streets of Los Angeles, California today at my house, 316 Gimmick Street, with a pearl neon clock, a swig of Diet Red Bull for the working man, a little handy recorder and a microphone, a little boom box in case I decide to play you guys a tune. Maybe I won't, maybe I will, who knows. But anyway, hey, I got a good show for you today. It's going to be a good one. Y'all know, a couple weeks ago, I went down to Monday Night Raw and I came to the Staples Center. I went down and talked to everybody. Y'all heard this story before. Today, you're going to hear the interview of a guy by the name of Zeb Coulter. Y'all know him. He's the leader of the illustrious Real Americans, the tag team in WWE of Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. Hey, man, last week, Antonio Cesaro and John Cena absolutely ripped it up on Monday Night Raw. They gave those guys a lot of damn time, and they put it all on the line. That was a damn good match those guys had. And I tell you what, Antonio Cesaro's got some big things coming for that kid. Kind of need to keep honing that gimmick down. I'm still not wild about them thigh bands, but anyway, the guy is damn good in the ring, and I predict big things for him. I think him and Cena really clicked out there and put on a bust-ass match. Hey, speaking of John Cena, he was on this past Tuesday on the Steve Austin Show. I got so much feedback out of that. It was actually unbelievable, and 99.9% of it, just people loved it. Y'all know, y'all was one that gave me the feedback on my Twitter account, Steve Austin BSR. Now, of course, with all of the good and the great comes the bad, and the haters gonna hate. That's what they do. And then I got engaged in a conversation while I was at the gym earlier today with some people on Twitter. Steve Austin BSR is my account number. And they started saying that basically I was kissing Cena's ass, or I was pandering to Cena, or Vince was paying me to say good things about Cena. Hey, you talk about a straight-up bunch of bullshit. I love engaging and talking to people on Twitter. It's a lot of fun. But when people start talking all this ridiculous bullshit, That's when I got to draw the line. Hey, brother, it's Steve Austin Show. Did you catch that? Steve Austin Show. That's me. It's my show. I don't pander to nobody. I don't kiss nobody's ass. I tell it like it is, how it is, because that's the way it is. I got respect for John Cena. If you don't like him, that's your problem. You deal with it. I've been down the road too many years, living on the road for over 250 days a year, playing the sold-out houses every damn night of the week, or when I started starving and playing against maybe 25, 50 people, if we was lucky. So I've been from a range of real high to extremely low and lasted a real long time and had a blast doing it. I know a thing or two about the business of pro wrestling, or as they want to call it today, sports entertainment. Hey, it's their damn show. They're going to call it what they want to. I'm not here to dispute that. But when you're going to say Steve Austin's pandering the guy, bullshit. Get you a life. I tell it like it is, the way it is, and that's the bottom line. Hey, man, I got to blow smoke up nobody's ass. I know what it takes to stay on top for a long time. John Cena has stayed on top for a long time. He's got everybody, or should have every single buddy in that company gunning for him. Everybody in that damn building. I'll be trying to knock Cena off his perch, and they hopefully they'll succeed, because that's what competition is all about. And John Cena's up for the challenge. He knows that when he took the number one spot. Tell me how you can fault the guy for being number one. Right. You can't. You can't present a good argument. It's his job to say, hey, Vince, I don't feel like being on top anymore. Go promote this, that, and that person. No, that ain't his job. His job is to make towns. His job is get in a squared circle, hit the ropes, tell a story, and get on down the road and keep doing that. That's what he does. Anyway, hey, let's shift gears a little bit and go into a different direction. I figured before I get into my conversation with Zeb, which happened over at a hotel room by the Staples Center, man-to-man, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, went in Dutch's room, set up my little recorder, put up my microphone stands, put in my microphones, plugged everything, and we started talking. Well, I'm sitting here addressing my microphone, and Dutch is all over the place. He's leaning backwards, he's leaning forwards, he's talking sideways, so hopefully you can understand all the words that Dutch is saying and pick up the volume. So I try to be as technically proficient with this recording equipment as I can, but be that as it may. And Dutch is a trained professional and one of the smartest guys that I ever rode up and down the road with. In fact, Dutch Mantell is the guy that gave me the name Steve Austin. Dutch Mantell is the guy that gave me the name Stunning Steve Austin. Dutch Mantell is the guy that chewed all my Red Man chewing tobacco back when we both chewed. Dutch Mantell used to bust my chops mile after mile after mile as we drove up and down the road with Chris Champion stuck in the back of my 1988 Hyundai Excel, dropping knowledge in 411 on psychology and the inner workings of a squared circle into my brain. He was a guy that had a big impact and a huge imprint on my work inside the ring and just the whole process. So as we rode down those roads, man, Dutch Mantell taught me a shitload about the business. And it's a funny story, and we'll get to it in the interview. But when I showed up at the Mid-South Coliseum on a Monday night, Dutch Mantell didn't even know I was going to be there. Jerry Jarrett had sent me, the owner of the territory. Dutch didn't know a damn thing. Dutch was booking. Dutch had to tell me what I was going to do that night. I showed up as Steve Williams. I left as Steve Austin that night. Well, we had that little conversation about what last name I would use because I could not use Steve Williams anymore. You know, when you're faced with the task of a life-changing decision like your last name or your name in general in the business of anything, much less professional wrestling, could have a huge impact. It turns out that Steve Austin was an outstanding name. So anyway, thanks, Dutch. Appreciate it. We won't get to Dutch in a minute. Hey, man. You guys always send me questions to questions@steveaustinshow.com. And you've been sending a bunch. I read every single question that comes in here. I ain't got the time to answer all of them. Many of you know that I email you back. I put a lot of them on the side and try to come back to them. But anyway, here's a couple of questions without me flapping my gums anymore that I'll try to answer for you. Hey, man, this is coming from a long-time guy down in Raleigh, North Carolina, Chris. He grew up on the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in North Carolina. His first live wrestling card was in '78. It was a battle royal with Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, and 2 Hall of Famers. The main event was Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair. 2 more Hall of Famers for the U.S. title. Jesus Christ, for the U.S. title. Dig that. So anyway, he was wondering, hey, Steve, what are your thoughts and experiences on the franchise Shane Douglas? Did you guys cross paths and work together in WCW or ECW? Any good stories about Shane? Come on, man. Hell, I wrestled Shane Douglas damn near every night of the week for a period of months. Shane Douglas was tagged up with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I was tagged up with Flying Brian Pillman. We were the Hollywood Blondes. I don't know how many times me and Brian wrestled Shane and Ricky Steamboat. I mean, tons. And they were the baby faces, we were the heels. I loved working with Shane. As a baby face, he had tremendous fire. When it came time for the heat, he could sell his ass off. I mean, I would damn sure say he could sell as good as Ricky Steamboat. And that's saying a lot because Ricky Steamboat is pretty much considered, one of the greatest sellers / workers in general of all time. So Shane could sell his ass off. When he went down to ECW and became the franchise, he turned into one of the best heel promos that was going in that day. I mean, his promos still hold up. Those some badass promos Shane was dropping. And kind of a lot of them was straight up in that shoot vein, but he was working, and he had a damn sure bottom line delivery, just malicious intent, articulate, eloquent, and well thought out. I love Shane's promos as a heel. I didn't like his work as much as a heel as I did babyface, and I'm not running down his heel work. That just shows how much I think of his babyface work. I thought he was a better babyface worker, but a better heel promo. So, hey, man, I worked with the guy a million times, got a lot of respect for him, and he had a hell of a run in his career and in ECW specifically, I thought. And the guy did a damn good job for himself. Hadn't seen Shane in a long time. So, anyway, Shane, if you're out there, if you hear this, I hope you're doing well. It was always fun working with your ass. Total pro. Here's a question. Steve, it looked like Ryback was going to be awesome. The fans seemed to get excited when he came out. Do you know why the WWE gave up on him? That's Ryan from New Jersey. Hey, Ryan, I don't know that they gave up on him. I don't know what happened. I hadn't talked to Ryback since he was Skip Sheffield back in the day, and I saw him a couple of years ago. I'm wondering if maybe his work wasn't up to the curve that the WWE thought it should have been. I don't know. I hadn't heard that he had any heat on him. I don't know the guy very well at all. He's got a great look. It's a good gimmick, kind of in the veins of a Goldberg meets Ultimate Warrior type. So I don't know. Maybe they just put the brakes on it a little bit. Maybe hey, I'll say this: when you get in WWE, you got to be able to go. You got to be able to put in some time. So maybe it needs to bring that work up to another notch. And if I'm saying that out of line, if that's not the case, then be that as it may, or it is, whatever the words are. That's all I know. So we'll see if they heat Ryback back up. Here's a question, Andrew from New Jersey. Hey, Steve, what are some of the more technical aspects you look for in a match that make it good or great that the untrained eye might not pick up on? Well, I mean, you can go into very various, stages of psychology there, but I mean, if you just want to look at some of the, I don't want to go into the serious aspects. I mean, the technical aspects can go crazy on you on a podcast when you can't see my eyes and know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's some simple things that I look for as soon as the match starts. Just a lockup. The intensity of the lockup. Was that lockup snapped in? Or was it a lollygag lockup? Hey, man, when you lock up, you're going to do battle. A good lockup means everything. A shitty lockup says, hey, I might see a bunch of slop here, but you lock up like a sumbitch. Hey, man, 2 guys out there tangling horns, it sends a message and it sets a tone for the rest of the match. Punches, body language. You can look like a ring general out there, or you can shuffle around and look like you lost. Just holds. Are there gaps in the holds? Are the holds snugged up? Stuff like that. Everything should look good. Now, you can have some slop in that match later on when you start getting a little bit tired, but, a little bit of execution. And I'm not talking about being technically proficient or perfect, but looking like a pro versus looking very green. If I was sitting here watching a monitor with you right now and we watched a green guy and a guy that was very seasoned, you would distinctly see the difference. Here's one. Basically, here's a guy that tried DDP yoga, and he hadn't worked out in a long time, and they started eating gluten-free. And then his wife and him started doing the DDP yoga, and this dude's feeling stronger, more flexible, and all that other stuff. So the dude started out at 223 in January. He's sitting at 208, and then his goal is to get down to 185. He's going to try to be there by midsummer. Just want to say thank you and allowing DDP to push his yoga on your show. It's great. You should give it a try. I know it. I've been meaning to give it a try, but I'm glad you're doing it right now, and I'm glad you're having success. Don't slack off. Kurt over in Amarillo, Texas. Swig a beer for the DDP Yoga man. Speaking of DDP Yoga, DDP is going to be out in the UK. He's going to be in Wales, and he's going to be on Ireland from March 1st to the 11th doing the DDP Yoga thing. So check him out. Go to his website, ddpyoga.com, or Real DDP, all his damn social media things. You can find him down there. Shit, I can't give you all the stuff. That wasn't even a plug. That was a damn question. Can y'all hear that car alarm in the background? That comes for free. Oh, wait, the whole show comes for free. There's one thing I can't stand is when a motherfucker's horn just keeps going off. And, half the horns in these things are the biggest pieces of shits anyway. I mean, I don't even know why the car has an alarm. And what really gets me is when you see a real clunker on the side of the road and it's got one of those gimmicks on the steering wheel to keep it from the thieves from stealing it. It's like, really, dude, you got to put that on your steering wheel? What's that thing called? Hell, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, Moolah's out running around with a new toy. You're probably picking that up on a microphone. That's for free, too. Hey, check it out. Here's a dude that got into a fight on the streets over in the Netherlands, and he was a big fan back in the day. He was a Stone Cold guy, and his buddy was a rock guy. So anyway, they're out there doing their thing on the town, and a couple of tough guys come up there and started messing with them. And he figures, what the hell? So he kicks the dude in the gut and gives him a stunner on the street and ended up, he hurt his ass. Dude, he said, how the hell did you handle taking all those bumps you dish out while giving those stunners? Hey, dude, I gave the stunner to Ahmed Johnson on the cement floor one time on an overseas trip in Germany. After that stunner, I never, ever gave another one outside the ring. Never, ever give anybody a stunner on the grass or on the concrete. If you're in the ring, go for it. But leave that son of a bitch alone if you're on a hard surface, or it will jack up your vertebral bodies. Brother. Yeah, man. Stay off the streets when you're doing them stunners, man. You mess your shit up. Hey, man, another cat here from Glasgow, Scotland. A lot of people from overseas listen to this damn show. I appreciate it. Hey, man, if you guys are digging the show, go tell a couple of buddies and tell them to tell two friends and so forth and so on and all that bullshit. Help me spread the word on this son of a bitch so we can keep paying the bills. We got to, pay the bills. I do the show for the working man. I know there's somebody right now sitting in the cubicle typing away, and they're getting paid to type, and they're listening to this show. Hey, by the way, you can't say it, so I'll say it for you. But you can think it. Hey, making money up in this bitch. That's right. Making money up in this biatch. Hey, check it out. This is what Ross said. Hey, Steve, I'm from Glasgow, Scotland. Make some money up in this bitch. Anyway, been a listener and fan of the show for a while and even longer of your career. Long live the Hollywood Blondes. My question is pretty obscure, but I always wanted to know since the first time I saw it back in 1999. I'd been rewatching older matches from your career and was watching the match from SummerSlam 99 with it was a triple threat with yourself, Triple H, and Mick, with Jesse Ventura as a special ref. Anyway, to the point, when Ventura throws Shane, who just received a sweet-ass stunner from you, over the top, as the camera pans to show him on the floor, you climb to the second rope, I assume to trash-talk Shane O'Mac. But when the camera switches back to the ring, you're all tangled up in the ropes with Triple H untangling you from them. So, Steve, what the hell happened there with you and those damn ropes? Hey, man, I'll tell you exactly what happened, Ross. That was the first night that I started wearing the double knee braces. I'd only been wearing one knee brace on my left leg. I'd torn my posterior cruciate in my PCL in my right knee, and it was starting to bother me, so I had to wear the double knee braces. I was very self-conscious that night. And, later on, it would become part of my, battle gear to wear both braces. But I was real leery that night. So anyway, we're out there working, And like you said, it's myself and Triple H and Mankind with Mick Foley and Jesse Ventura's a special ref. Shane O'Mac comes out there to do a little sabi-da. And I'm standing on the second rope, or the first rope rather, and I reached down to push him. And when I did, I went ass over tea kettle over the top rope and got tangled up in the ropes. So I'm hanging upside down from the ring ropes, and I can't get up. My ass is too heavy. I can't get up. I'm hanging upside down by my legs, tangled up in the ropes. And Jesse Ventura's doing his thing. He's going into the strut. So I'm like, Jesse, Jesse, Jesse. And Jesse's getting his glory in. You know, the people are going crazy. And I love Jesse Ventura. He was always real good to me when he was on commentary. He's one of the greatest promos of all time as well. So anyway, I'm yelling, Jesse. And the son of a bitch can't hear me because the people are popping so loud. And so I'm like, God damn it, what am I going to do? No one will help me. I was a babyface. Triple H was a heel. I don't even know what Mick was or what he was working that night. So finally I said, Triple H, Triple H, Triple H. Now, from a wrestling perspective, it does not make sense for the heel to come save the babyface because he's hanging upside down in ropes. But Paul knew that if we're going to have this damn match, he's going to have to rescue the top babyface in the country, much less the promotion, much less the world. So Triple H comes over to act like he's kind of attacking me, and basically he just writes me up and stands me up, and we go to a spot. I think we called some kind of spot. I think I might have hit him with the Lou Thez. And as soon as I hit him with that Thez, I started pounding on him. I was thinking, God damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. And we were laughing our asses off. And I was on a pay-per-view, and it was an unbelievable moment. But Triple H saved my ass that night by helping me out. I tried to push Shane, slipped out, and was hanging from a damn rope. So that's what was going on. And thanks to Paul, that dude has always been a ring general from since the day I first met him. And I've had a lot of good times in the ring with him. And one of these days I'm going to get his ass on the show. I don't want to talk to him on the phone because we got too many good things to talk about in person. But we got Dutch Mantel coming up. But before we get to him, I want to help the working man and the working woman out there trying to start their own businesses. Hey, dig it. This is National Start Your Business Month. And the folks at LegalZoom are ready to help. Start your LLC, incorporate, or file your DBA. LegalZoom got an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, so you know they'll get the job done right. And this month is special because with your purchase, LegalZoom will give you a 3-month trial to the all-new QuickBooks, a better way to run your whole business. That's a $119 product you're getting for free. Now, just remember to type Austin in the referral box at checkout. That's my last name in case you didn't know. Austin, Austin. Don't forget to type that in. So make today your new business moment and let LegalZoom.com help you get it done. LegalZoom provides self-help services and can connect you with the right attorney, but they're not a law firm. LegalZoom, turning business dreams to reality. All right, we're rolling sound right here. I'm sitting in the room with Dutch Mantel. You guys out there.
It's my story.
Oh, it's his story. Okay. We're sitting here in the room with Dutch Mantel here at the, where are we at, the Sheraton?
At the Sheraton, downtown L.A.
This beats the hell out of back in a day in the USWA territory. All those flea boxes we used to stay in.
Well, I'm glad to make you show. I've heard so much about it, and people tell me, have you talked to Steve? Or he talks about you all the time, and I'm glad to be on your show, really. Now, who would have thought? When were we driving them down the road?
Man, that was
over 20 years ago.
1990.
Yeah, and who would have thought that we would end up in downtown L.A. doing a podcast like this? I mean,
if you'd told me,
life is funny.
Yeah, if you'd have told me back in the day that you and I, well, first of all, that I even have podcasts because I ain't into the technology scene. Yeah. But obviously, many years later, and here we are in Los Angeles, California, after our illustrious times down there in the USWA territory, based out of Nashville, Tennessee, riding up down the road in my 1988 Hyundai Excel. And many times we had Chris Champion crammed in the back seat.
He was there.
He was there.
And we were just talking right before we went on, before you turned the tape on here. I guess that's what you call it. You remember the snowstorm?
Yeah, the snowstorm. We were going, now see, everybody, when you talk about the USWA, it's based out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Based out of Nashville.
And here was
you tell people today how the wrestling business used to be,
right?
And they say, really, it was that way. It was only the hardcore know it, and the internet. I guess The wrestling community knows about it.
Right.
But most of these kids now, they don't know that they actually were other companies that existed before WWE, but they were, and that's where all these guys, where you came from, that's where I came from. And all the masters came through that system.
The little territories.
Yes.
And back in the day, I mean, man, you could have guys on the card. You know, I showed up. I had been in the business 2 months, literally, and they were just beating the tar out of me at the Dallas Sportatorium Friday nights and Saturday mornings for the television taping. You know, heels get a little heat on me. I was a young, upcoming baby face. You know, wasn't worth nothing. I was green, as you would soon find out when I rolled in to the Mid-South Coliseum. But that was a great territory to learn in, because I've told this, the schedule before, but let's go through it. Monday was Memphis, Tennessee. Tuesday was Louisville, Kentucky. Wednesday was Evansville, Indiana. Thursday was a spot show, usually within about 100 miles of Nashville. Yeah. Most of the boys lived in Nashville. Of course, the King, Jerry Lawler, always lived in Memphis. Yes. And then after the spot show, we'd jump on that bus, drive all night to Dallas, Texas to work the Sportatorium Friday night. So. You didn't do that one?
No, I took off.
Okay, you took off on that show.
When they started doing that, I said, I don't do this.
Oh, so anyway, we would go to the liquor store, get some beer, come back, drive all night, make Memphis TV on Saturday morning, go back to the parking lot where we parked our cars, and then tour bus, go home, take a shower, end up at the fairgrounds on Saturday night.
In Nashville.
Right. And then Sunday might have been a spot show, or you would be off. And that was a great territory to learn. Because, man, you got to get your chops up. No, it was. The territory seemingly was always down on mine. I don't know what you guys were making. I was making $15 to $20 a night, and when I look back at some of my performances, they probably overpaid me by 2 times what I was actually worth. But let's talk about the first time when I rolled into the Mid-South Coliseum. I talked to Jerry Jarrett.
What year was this?
This was in 1990. I broke in the back end of 1989, and they've been beating the tar out of me in Sportatorium for a couple of months. I was working still full-time at Watkins Motor Lines, loading and unloading trucks. And I said, Jerry Jarrett.
Like that, did you?
Well, I mean, hey, man, that's what I did.
Yeah.
And but Jerry Jarrett had just kind of bought that.
You said, I got to be a star.
Got to be a star. Got to be a superstar, baby.
I can't be loading these trucks all day long.
Well, I mean,
this is what I was in Memphis, and I was like what they call the booker.
You was booking. You was right.
There's no such thing as a booker now. You don't have bookers. You have, I guess, creative. You don't have bookers. But I like the booker days because you had one guy. You say, hey, do it this way, or this is what I got. And,
right.
And that day, Memphis, I'm running down there, and I'm trying to get everybody lined up. Lance Russell was running around. He was the announcer, and Lawler was whatever he was.
And I didn't get this. I was the first guy in the building that day. I showed up in my car, and there I was just kind of milling around the dressing room. Here comes Ricky Morton. Hey, man, my name's Steve Williams. Yeah. Ricky Morton. He looked at me up and down. You know how Ricky Morton does. Can you work? That's first thing out of anybody's mouth back in the day. Can you work? Yeah. And I said, well, I guess that's what I'm here to do. Continue.
Well, I'm standing in the dressing room. I didn't even know you were coming.
I know.
Nobody told me. Jerry Jarrett talked to you, but guess what? He didn't talk to me. And so Bill Dundee came up to him and he says, hey, you got this new kid showing up. I said, who? He said, I don't know, some kid from Dallas. I says, no, nobody's coming in. He said, oh, yeah, there is. I said, nobody told me. He said, well, I'm just telling you that you better, he's going to show up. So in you walk with the blonde hair. And I look at you, and you introduce yourself. My name's Steve Williams. I says, okay, good to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to talking, and I says, all right, you can't be Steve Williams here. And you said, I don't know why in the F not. That's my name.
I say that, or did I just?
No, yes, you did. That's what you said.
See, because in your book.
We just met.
Okay, what was the first book you wrote?
The World According to Dutch.
The World According to Dutch. I read that book from cover to cover. You sent it to me. It's a great book. And you said in that book that I was a little bit on the cocky side. I didn't think I was that cocky, was I? Okay, so anyway, continue.
No, you were just being you.
Okay, I was just being you, me, but I was cocky.
I liked it from the beginning. And you said, well, I don't know why in the F not. That's my name. I said, listen, they already got a Steve Williams. You said, who? I said, Dr. Death Steve Williams. I said, you can't have 2 Steve Williams. It's like having 2 Willie Nelsons. You can't have it.
You said, put Steve Williams on a card and they're expecting Dr. Death, and they see my chump ass with a long, stringy blonde hair who's greener than grass. It ain't cool.
And I remember saying, okay, listen, I'm going to think of a name. I'll be back in a minute. I went and did something else. Yeah. And I came back.
And now you said 15 minutes. That's exactly what you said. And here I am, a young cat in the business, got to make a life, decision here that's going to affect the rest of my career. So I didn't come up with squat.
So then I came back. I said, hey, have you thought of a name? No. I said, all right, keep thinking. I got to do something else. So I left again.
Yep.
I came back, and there's Lance Russell standing there. He said, okay, you were on first. He said, what's his name? I said, well, let me find out. You got a name? You said, no. I said, wow, what the? I said, okay, listen. And I don't know, it just popped here. I said, listen, tonight you're Steve F.N. Austin. And you says, like the $6 million man? I said, no, and I'm being a smart ass.
I know, and I said, I don't want to be Steve Austin. So you gave me a couple more minutes to think of a name. Then you come back for the next round. You said, what'd you come up with? And I said, I ain't come up with nothing. And you said, that's your name. You're going to be Steve Austin. Yeah. And I was backed into a corner. I went out as Steve Austin that night.
You went out in the first match.
Yeah.
So I go out and watch the match, and you come back.
No, remember this? That was Mid-South Coliseum. And so Frankie the Thumper Lancaster was going to do a little smiles with somebody, and I was just supposed to go in there and stooge the referee, and then I was going to get in the ring and do some physicality with one of the guys, and the guy says, you're going to end up, you told me you're going to end up pinning, goddamn, who's that blonde guy that used to work back in the day? Was it Mike Davis? Yep. It was Mike Davis. I was going to, Mike Davis was going to do something with me. Boom, 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 boom. I was going to end up pinning him 1, 2, 3. And I looked at you when you told me this. Yeah. And because I was going over in a makeup match after Frankie the Thumper worked with him. And I looked at you with total deadpan because I thought I was going to get beat. And I said, I'm going to lose. And you said, no, you're not going to lose. You're going to get a quick count on Mike Davis. And that was my first night out in Mid-South Coliseum. Here's what I remember.
Well, I don't.
Okay, go ahead.
I thought you had a match. No.
No.
Okay.
No, but I want to go to the match where.
Was that the way I said in the book? Well, I can't remember the match. You can't remember the book.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
making this up.
Well, I've been hitting the head with too many steel chairs, and you've been around a long time.
But anyway, the story goes, you come back and you said, "Hey," and you was all excited. And you said,
that was in Lebanon, Tennessee, when I worked with the guy in the hood. Another one. Okay, go ahead.
That's the night you hooked up the Undertaker.
No. We were in a spot show, and I want to say it was Lebanon, Tennessee. It could have been any town. Okay, but check it out. The Undertaker thing was going to happen in Evansville. I'll tell you the story on that. But anyway, so what happened was we were out on the road, and you said, all right, what do you want me to do? And you said, I was working with that guy who used to work in a hood, and it was Gilbert, a Gilbert guy in a hood. It wasn't Doug Gilbert. It wasn't Eddie Gilbert.
Not Tommy.
Was that him? A guy about 5'10" in a hood?
I don't think so.
Anyway, so I was working with a guy in the hood, and I went out there. My headlock was way down low, around the waist level. Everything was very, very bad. Of course, I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah. I ended up going over. I got the win, and I come back. But I remember when you told me, you said,
already a star.
Yeah.
You won 2 matches. You just got there.
But you said, your instructions were, you said, all right, go out there and give us about 8 or 10 minutes. All of a sudden, I'm thinking, 8 or 10 minutes? What in the hell am I going to do for 8 or 10 minutes? That's that green part where, all I needed was maybe 2.
That's how you learn.
I know. So we went out there, stomped the joint out, and of course I thought it was outstanding. And I come to that damn dressing room, and you said, come here. And boy, you chewed my ass out. Gave me the riot act. Chris, come over here. You told Chris Champion, come over here. I put Chris, he go, put Chris in a headlock, and I put him in that sorry headlock that I had. He go, put his head up here. That way you can hear him when he's talking to you, and you can continue to critique my match in a very aggressive fashion. Finally, he pointed at a steel chair. You say, you see that chair over there? And I said, yeah. He goes, you grab, I didn't know what you were going to tell me to do with it. I thought you were going to tell me to stick it up my ass, or, something smart aleck. And he said, you grab that chair, and you go out there and sit in that door, and you watch every single match on the card. He goes, that's the only way you're going to learn this stuff. Right. And boy, I tell you what, almost for the rest of my career, I watched damn near every single match on the card to see what the guys were doing in the ring, what the crowd was reacting to. And
that's what surprised me when I told you to grab the chair and watch every match every night for the whole time you're here. And then later on that night, I actually saw you sitting there.
Yeah.
You're chewing tobacco and watching the match. And I went, my God, here's a wrestler who actually does what you tell him to do. But I've often told people, I said, that's why I think Steve Austin was successful, because he became a serious student of what he was trying to do.
Right.
And you made it work for you. It was good.
Hey, what was the deal with you and your promos? Because I always hear people talk about promos, and you're one of the best promos of all time. You have gift for gab. What was your thought process behind promos? Because it took me a long time to bring that up to speed. And, when they stuck, never really had any promo time down there in Dallas. I started feuding with Chris Adams, a little bit of time here and there, but it was just all that, run-of-the-mill stuff that you talk when you think you're a wrestler. Didn't really have any concept yet. So what's your thought process on you just one of those talkative, gifted gab type cats or what?
Well, you got to talk to people that they kind of understand what you're talking about. And when I tell wrestlers today, and I would tell any performer, we tell you this, the best thing that you have to do in wrestling is when you walk through that curtain, you got to own the place. But secondly, you got to connect with those people.
Right.
Some way. And if they like the way you talk, and then, of course they like the way you wrestle, you connect that way. But the best way to get them, when you get them here, when you touch their heart and you make them feel something, you got them.
Right.
And that's what I always tried to do. I never tried to talk over their head. I didn't talk at them, I talked to them. I wanted them to feel me. Like we're sitting here talking back and forth.
Right.
And see, my style of talking never changed, whether I'm talking to you right here or whether I'm talking to a camera. I wanted those, and wrestling is so unique in that, like basketball players are, you can see them, they come in on their faces, but wrestling, they come right in on your face. And if you tell somebody who's telling a really good story, it's like watching a movie, you feel it.
Right.
And when you feel it, you got them.
Right.
I hate that you got me. I'm saying if somebody's telling me something and I'm believing it, I'm connecting with them.
Right.
And so whatever he does from then on out, if he gets hurt, if he gets his feelings hurt, he gets beat up, it's almost like you're kicking me.
Right.
It's almost like if he limps, I'm limping with him.
Right.
And that's what I always tried to do. And now they can give you all kind of interviews. Say this and say that. Well, you can say it, but it's whether the people accept it and whether they feel it. Like when you do interviews,
you have to mean it.
You got to mean it. And well, you don't have to mean it, but you got to make the people think you mean it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To me,
that's where the art comes in. And what I've said about wrestling a long time, sometimes the art of actually wrestling is not eroding, but I think it has diminished somewhat.
And why is that?
I don't know why it is, because I think years ago when they had all the territories. See, when I tell guys, I'm gonna tell this little story. I was sitting around the table somewhere in catering the other day or something, and I just started talking. And Pat Patterson was there too, and we started talking. And Pat was telling this, and I'm telling this, and I'm talking about Ernie Ladd, and he's talking about Montreal, and I'm talking about Memphis, and he's talking about San Francisco. And we're telling these stories that are so long ago, it's almost in the lore of wrestling. And all of a sudden I look up, and there's 10 guys standing around looking, I swear.
Yeah.
It's like story time.
Right.
Hey, Uncle Bill, tell me this story. And they were all standing around, and they were like wide-eyed kids.
Right.
They had never heard it before. And unless like when I wrote 2 books. One's called The World According to Dutch. The other's called Tales from a Dirt Road.
And you're supposed to send me that one. You ain't sent it yet.
I didn't.
Anyway, go back to
I
story.
sent you the first one.
Yeah, you did. I'll buy the second one. Call it even.
But unless some of these stories are written down and documented, they'll just be lost.
Oh, that'd be a shame too.
It would be. There's so many stories that are still untold.
Right.
And one thing in my books, and I think all books should be this way, I don't out anybody.
No.
If somebody
That's
is
not
like,
what it's about.
If he has a problem with drugs, I don't say that.
Right.
If he has a problem with whatever,
Yeah.
drinking, this, I don't bring it out because I wouldn't want it brought out about me.
No.
Not that I have any thoughts anyway. What I'm
Never.
saying,
But
they'd have to tell a lie if they said it about me.
Yeah,
anyway.
of course.
But I don't want that brought out, and it's a funny book. Everything is humorous, and I don't see the purpose of that. Because a lot of guys, and I'm not saying this to target anyone, but nobody wants to hear this guy didn't like me, and this is why I got held back, and this guy tried to screw me, and nobody wants to hear that. I don't want to hear it because to me that's their private agenda, and whatever they're trying to push. Okay, I'm agreeing with you. Just tell me a good story. Just tell me.
If someone wants to
Entertain
talk
me.
specifically about their personal problems and they want to put their stuff out there, I'm okay with that. But just me, like my podcast, I don't want to say anything bad about anybody. If it's not good,
We can't say anything bad about anybody.
I'm
Hey, man,
it's your job, not mine.
Right now. But you remember the snowstorm?
I remember the snowstorm, but, man, I've bits and pieces of it. I just know that you and me had left Nashville. From Nashville to Memphis, it's 205 miles one way. All of a sudden, we're driving down there, it gets real hairy, and things start freezing up. You continue.
Well, it was bad weather that day.
Well, who was I working with that night? You were the booker? I mean, I'm sure it was a great angle to help further my cause.
It was going to blow the roof off.
Genius.
It was going to blow the roof off the Mid-South. But it was bad weather, and they were predicting snow. But, it's going to miss us. No, the Weather Channel said, no problem. So we start driving in your Air Honda.
Yep.
So we're driving down, and it starts snowing a little harder. And I had called, I forgot who. I think I called Lawler. I said, hey, you're not going to cancel it? No, we're not going to cancel. We don't do that.
And that was a call from either your place or off the side of the road, because we didn't have no cell phones back in.
No, we didn't have any cell phones. So we start driving, and as closer we got to Memphis, the more the snow started coming down. And by the time we got to Memphis, hell, we was in a damn blizzard. And so I remember, and it was getting dark, too, and it's colder than hell. And we get off that Highland Avenue, and we try to work our way around to that Coliseum. When we pull in, and we run right into Lawler pulling out. And you rode your window down and you said, hey, we're running? No, we're not running. It's a blizzard. What is wrong with you guys? Are you crazy?
And the thing about it is, Lawler lives in Memphis. He didn't just drive 205 miles. He didn't have 205 miles to drive back home.
So it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon and it's dark. This is January, February, so we start back. Another 205. It's actually long. It's about 230 is what it is, but it's a long way. Now we got to go through the storm. Now the storm was moving east, and we were going west, so we was, on the way back, now it's longer. Now it's going the way we're going.
Yep.
And we go about, 100 miles. I remember your windshield had a little crack in it, and somehow some moisture would get in. It actually started snowing in your car. We were inside. And we made it as far as some truck stop, and we spent the night on the side at the truck stop sleeping